who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have a Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's been too long. Game time decisions. We are in the mix on a Thursday on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you for the next hour as we set it up and knock it down with so much to get to. A very, very fun Thursday nighter, an NFC West battle between the Niners and the Rams. We will get to your NBA board. 3 games tonight, a pick in all 3. Plus, rumors are swirling. Jimmy Butler's changing his hair color as a form of trade request, apparently. And LeBron James is sitting out, which maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe there is. We'll talk about it a little bit, as well as, of course, Bill Belichick and North Carolina, the arguable greatest coach in the history of American sports, is going from the pro game to the college game, what it means, what to expect, and how do we maybe make some moves in the market. We'll break that all down here on Game Time Decisions. We'll be joined by Donnie Rightside halfway through, get his takes on all these items as well. We'll get prop bets for you, but let's start big picture on Niners-Rams. 2.5-point number, 3 in some shops, favoring San Francisco. Your total in this one is 48.5. And for the Niners to hold as a field goal favorite, you know that means they put up a great week, considering the Rams played in one of the most high-profile, best games of the season in their victory against the Buffalo Bills. The scoring was nonstop, and the victory was massive. It allowed them to jump the Arizona Cardinals in this race and try and knock on the door of the Seattle Seahawks, who do right now sit in first place of the NFC West. It is the favored 49ers who are back at 20-1. San Francisco, despite beating up on the Chicago Bears, not closing the gap enough. Seattle extending with their head-to-head victory last week against the Arizona Cardinals, add in a Rams upset over the Buffalo Bills, and all the Niners really did was hold serve. When you peel back this onion and get to the LA Rams, now you see a team who is feeling like they can actually make a postseason run. The odds to make the playoffs and win this division are very similar, and rightfully so. The NFC's wild card slots are not finished, but there are heavy favorites in all three: Minnesota, Green Bay, and the Washington Commanders. It would take a monstrous collapse, quite frankly, for Minnesota or Green Bay to fall out. For Washington as well. The Commanders, a pretty easy schedule, all things considered. So for the LA Rams, you got to find a way to make up ground in this division, and it means division head-to-heads will matter. Now, the Rams have done a nice job, all things considered. They've already upset the Niners once this season. They have a win in Seattle under their belt as well. And if the Rams are able to grab a win, all of a sudden this 20-1 conference number does get very interesting, because many people would take Matthew Stafford as maybe the best quarterback overall in the NFC. A home game against Minnesota, who they already own a head-to-head victory with this year. Again, people will be off and running with LA Ram tickets, no doubt about it. It's can they crack through? It's a similar question for the 49ers, but the odds are far different because of the starting point. The odds that the Rams have to win the conference is what you have on the Niners to win the division. It's why that 10-1 postseason number exists, and that's how you now get a +5 or 55-1 number to win the NFC. The issue for San Francisco and why it all starts with the division. But where I've now lost even more faith in or really have removed my consideration from attacking any Niners numbers is, one, my preseason expectations that we talked about here on this show was that one of the winners of this division would either be the Rams or the Seahawks. I was looking for, couldn't find the no on the Niners' price to win the NFC West. So I would now be kind of going against the preseason thoughts that I'm watching play out somewhat accurately. The second bit of it all is, even if the Niners get there and they show up and they're in the playoffs, there's no McCaffrey, there's no Ayuk, there's probably going to be 2 or 3 other guys missing, because that's the season it has been for San Francisco. So if they end up winning this division, amazing. But even if these are much bigger prices, you're getting plenty here on a 20-1 NFC West number, I think, for the 49ers, if you want to take a chance. And if this team is able to win their division and get into the playoffs, boy, would that help their quarterback, Brock Purdy, who's looking to break the bank. Many believe that Brock's already done enough to get that big-time contract from San Francisco. Performances like he had last week against Chicago, throwing for well over 300 yards, a wildly efficient performance, will help Brock's case despite the lackluster record that we are seeing right now for the 49ers quarterback. But I still think he's going to have to play well down the back stretch, especially in the less than ideal conditions that which Brock Purdy's dealing with right now. Trent Williams, McCaffrey, Ayuk are 3 of the big names they're missing on the offensive side of the ball. Brock Purdy cannot have a situation where he's only able to perform if everything around him is perfect. That is, one, just not realistic for the way the game of football is played. And 2, pardon me, sorry about that. But 2, it is also a situation where if they pay Brock Purdy, you're eventually going to lose some of these guys. Brock will be looking to reset the market. Now, on the Matthew Stafford side of this equation, who some feel is the best quarterback in the NFC, those arguments certainly boosted up by his head-to-head battle with the MVP favorite Josh Allen last week. I think Stafford's play is an under on his passing yards. The number now 244.5. Personally played it at 247 and a hook. We have seen 11 of 13 opposing quarterbacks go under that number against this San Fran defense. Kyron Williams' head-to-head battle tonight, we think, will be Isaac Guerendo. The Niners are going all out, feeling as if their postseason hopes live and die with this game. I cannot get to Guerendo because I've watched the Niners throw running backs out there who are not 100% this season. So you may watch Guerendo have 4 carries for 45 yards and then watch the under settle in nice and easy because he cannot finish the game. People will look for some Patrick Taylor. People will look in other departments there. Izzy Abataconda potentially as well. Pass catching rooms tonight. Puka, Megastar, Cooper Kupp, you know the story. Jawan Jennings, higher prop than Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel drawing a lot of attention. Him and A.J. Brown likely have a group chat going right now. Who can complain more? Though Deebo's make a little bit more sense, considering the Niners are playing poorly and considering he's not top 8 in yards per game like A.J. Brown. But Deebo is also leading the Niners in drops, so that's not really great. There's some action for me tonight on Deebo Samuel, so we will get to that. I really do like his longest reception prop. That number tonight is 20.5. Anytime touchdown scorers, you can see the uncertainty around Garendo reflected best in those numbers. We keep talking ball next here on Game Time Decision.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on Game Time Decisions, and we will talk more about your Thursday night game in just a couple of moments here on the show. But I want to go over to the NBA. Get to Bill Belichick in a little as well. 3-game board tonight. Picking all three. Let's get action on your slate for you. Why not? I like under in Boston, Detroit. That number at 224.5 for me. Looks like it's climbed up to 225.5. We have a comp spot for when these teams met just a few days ago, about 8 days now at this point. In Boston, no Tatum, 250 points. But if you know me, we're selling high. That point to over-under in that game was 221.5. I also look at the Detroit game that they played in New York against the Knicks. and a very impressive defensive effort to hold what has been one of the best offenses in the NBA this year to 111. Detroit handled their business, which is why that game went over. But that total, and I think the Knicks right now might be one of your more over teams in the NBA, right? There's a few of them, Atlanta, Memphis. The Knicks are in that category as well. They don't have the pace, but the offensive output is there. I think they're more of an over team than Boston, nowhere near the defensive unit. So I'm playing under at 224.5. My favorite bet tonight is a rebounds plus the assist prop on DeMar DeRozan. This number is 7.5, which DeMar has now gone under in 3 consecutive games. But Sacramento is playing excellent basketball over their last 2. Yes, it's San Antonio and Utah. Yes, it's 2 games. I don't care. Back-to-back games of 140-plus is a rarity, and it's noteworthy. And I think it means that Sacramento goes into New Orleans tonight. While they are sat as big favorites, they will look to continue this run here, get themselves to 500, which would be certainly important. And some of that then can mean we get the minutes required, right, for DeMar to hit this number for the first time in 3 games. Mind you, this 3-game under streak started at the end of an 8-game over streak of 7.5. I think we have a nice number here at only minus 120. Give me DeMar DeRozan's rebounds plus assists. And then we get to Miami, where there's a lot more going on than just Heat Raptors with a double-digit spread. Firstly, we are going to play Bam Adebayo over tonight, 33.5 rebounds, points, rebounds, and assists. In the rebounds plus assists market, Bam Adebayo has been dominant in his last 7 games. He's mixed in a triple-double, a 20-rebound effort, and is averaging nearly 20 RA in the window. What has gone wrong for Bam Adebayo has been his shooting efficiency, or lack thereof. The three-point shot not falling, the shots inside the arc have been barely hitting at a 50% clip, and he's under 45% during the run, including in this 7-game window, 2 games against Toronto, where he shot 6 of 16 and 5 of 13. I'll sell the Raptors bottling up Bam. I like Adebayo to go through the 33.5 PRA number. Let's stick with Miami, though, shall we? The Miami Heat over 43.5 was my favorite win total bet of the NBA season. And it looks like I may have to hit that wager with Miami moving on from arguably their best player in season. And that would be Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has not requested a trade, but it appears the Miami Heat are open to dealing Jimmy, because it doesn't look like they want to give him a contract extension. The Heat are doing something that is at times tough to do. Butler is a legend for the Miami Heat. It would be a real shame if 22 wasn't retired. Again, it's an organization that retired Michael Jordan's number, so maybe anyone that ever actually plays for Miami would be deserving. But Jimmy's runs to multiple NBA finals have made him a Heat legend. But at his age, his health, and Miami's standing within the NBA, I'm not sure paying Jimmy Butler's the best move. And Jimmy knows that. So if staying in Miami isn't going to get you the contract, nor get you a championship, then perhaps for Jimmy it would make some sense to go on. And Jimmy certainly has enough cachet to control where he goes. So it seems as if we have ourselves a bit of a list. A list that you can piece together either with the reporting of Shams Charania or Jimmy's hairstyles. Shams added the Phoenix Suns, which apparently we could have figured out on our own, as Jimmy Bucket showed up tonight with new orange hair. Red for the Rockets the last game, blue for the Dallas Mavericks, beautiful gold locks for the Golden State Warriors. The odd bit of this all is, of those teams, I'm not sure how many make sense. Like, I get it from Jimmy's point of view, but I don't know how this works. The Rockets, we've heard, are probably not interested in that's because the Rockets are trying to follow through on their plan to trade for Kevin Durant this offseason. I actually think it's going to work. We can hit that another time. It's complicated, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Dallas is on there. I guess Jimmy's interested in going back to Texas. Don't know why the Spurs aren't on the list, especially because that actually would make more sense than Dallas. I mean, you got to get him wanting to play for the Mavericks. How is that happening? Obviously, they're not trading Luka or Kyrie. Are they trading Clay? I don't know if they can, who they just brought in. The PJ Washington? Lively? What are we talking about here? I don't see how that deal's getting done. It just doesn't make sense. The Suns are on the list. Well, one of the big three is going to have to get traded, right? I mean, that's just what it's going to be. Well, Beal has a no-trade clause, and they're not trading Durant or Booker for Jimmy. So is Beal going to agree to get traded off of Phoenix? Maybe. The other remaining team is the Golden State Warriors. That I could see. But Golden State might be patient because maybe LeBron James' time away from the Lakers right now isn't just about rest. LeBron can be dealt as of December 15th. He won't play a game for the Lakers before then. Maybe he won't play a game for the Lakers again. Sports Millions picks are next.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have it. Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations. The way you coach this football team, I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid, and it is time for your Sports Millions Pick'em. We try and find the best entries that we can make here in a divisional battle between the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, entering this game, I think it's a little bit lower scoring than some might think, especially when you consider the scoring output from these teams last week. 44 for LA against Buffalo. San Fran hung 38 on Chicago. But I do think there are some areas, even in a lower scoring affair, you could see a higher check-in. That is where we go to Deebo Samuel. Deebo, to me, enters into one of the narrative spots of the season. Deebo has been one of the most electric players in this league throughout his career. That, though, has not materialized this season for Deebo. The workload's not been there, and even when he does get the ball, or they try to get it to him, he's not making good on it. Deebo leads this team in drops. Like, Jawan Jennings has actually been better than him. Certainly George Kittle. There's a lot going on here when you look at the lack of production. But Deebo, as I guess apparently the birthright of any talented wide receiver, has decided to say that he is blameless in this situation and is saying this is a product of him not getting the ball. Specifically over the last 3 games, 4 targets, 5 targets, 3 targets. Okay. I could certainly see how he would like to see an uptick in workload there. I do think there is some incredible irony in that Deebo's complaints are the loudest, similar to A.J. Brown following a win. I guess perhaps it was a little bit more comforting to lose and say, well, that's because they're not using me enough. And then your team goes out there and has their best offensive performance of the season. Scoring 38 is the best mark for San Fran this year. And all of a sudden, now the squeaky wheel starts squeaking. And their head coach, Kyle Shanahan, has said, yeah, we'll figure it out. So Deebo, who has had less than 25 yards in 4 straight games, tonight I think has higher than 51.5 receiving yards. On the other side of this game, I look at the quarterback, and that is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is coming off of the best game of his season, actually one of the best games of his career. And the 320 yards against Buffalo, the 77% completion percentage in the game, while averaging nearly 11 yards per pass attempt, was awesome to see. That, though, all leads to me going lower than 244.5 passing yards tonight for LA's quarterback. This is a number that just the game before his matchup with Buffalo, he came nowhere near, tossing for 183 against New Orleans. Even against Philly, we would have snuck out with a victory on this since he threw for 243. Mind you, plenty of that in garbage time. This projects to be a close game here tonight, so I'm not sure you see Matthew Stafford required to throw it at the level at which he had to against Philly and those 36 attempts that he finished with in that game. I look at it here tonight, and for my Sports Millions entries, I am going with 1 lower and 1 higher. Our higher is Deebo Samuel, 51.5 receiving yards, as he is demanding the football, and I think he will be getting it here tonight. I think he will be getting it here tonight against the LA defense. And then for LA, we go lower than 244.5 passing yards, as so far this season, just 2 quarterbacks, just 2 of 13 possible, have been able to throw higher than 244.5 so far this year. So those are your Sports Millions pick'ems. So many different options. Make sure you head over there. Countless different props that you can mess around with over on Sports Millions. So check that out. We take a quick break. We'll be back with more here on SportsGrid in just a bit.
Both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, not alone. We've got Donnie Rightside checking in. How we feeling, DRS?
Now, by the way, did it do better than Bill Belichick? This looks a little baby blue. It's all the first look at Belichick when he rolled up there. No baby blue or no Tar Heel blue today? Come on now.
I thought that was Tar Heel blue.
No, when he officially came, I didn't see the press conference.
Oh.
But when he rolled up on campus, North Carolina fans very upset that he might have not gotten the memo here.
Oh, well, he fixed it at the press conference.
Okay.
Is what
somebody
I
got
will
him.
say.
Yeah, somebody got him.
Let's talk some Bill Belichick, DRS.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Because this is one of these stories where when you first hear about it, like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think very quickly it was like, oh, yeah, this is happening. Like, this should happen, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I am bullish on this situation. I think that you are looking at a changing landscape now where the reasons that the Nick Sabans and Jay Wrights retired is why Bill Belichick going to the college game makes all the sense in the world. I think he can make a meaningful impact at North Carolina, and the market agrees, by the way. Sportsbooks love to take these big topics and, hey, let's throw something at you. They threw a 6.5 out there the other day on Bill Belichick. It got bet up to 7.5. You know this, Donnie. You've been betting college football a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, betting anything, what it takes to move a football win total, a full win. That's what's happened in the 24 hours since this became official. It's juiced to the under, but the 6.5s are now 7.5s as people clearly are somewhere out there buying in on Chapel Bill.
Hey, exactly. But also it does make some sense because you're taking a look at a program that was, iffy at best under Mac Brown, and you're putting a Hall of Fame coach on the opposite side. The one thing I will say is I'm waiting to see because if you put players in the pros, that initially becomes attractive right away for players.
Yeah.
But also, that could flip over. You might see a surge of players transferring into North Carolina because they want to be with North Carolina and Bill Belichick. After 1 year, those players will talk. Yeah, that was the worst experience of my life. I'd never go there. That could slow the process even with all that money. But if you go there as a transfer and you were slated to say, okay, my junior year I turned pro, I'd be a fourth-round pick. Went to North Carolina and played, and now I'm a second-round pick. That's what players want to see, and also with that NIL money. So for me, on one end of it, it could work out fantastically, or I'm just looking at it as that line moves higher. people are betting that number. Nobody today looked at North Carolina and goes, fade it, take the under right away, automatic. That's stupid money because you're betting against a guy coming in, understanding he has a game play and is going to execute it. The talent on this team next year is going to be better than what it is right now. So I can see it.
I think what's interesting, though, too, Donnie, like, again, I'd love to know, we talk about in the room, right? Mm-hmm. Like, who out there's like, they're not going to be good, threw up 6.5 and went, oh, my God, all right, get it to 7. Like, how many bets now are they holding on this? And here's why I find that to be just such an odd decision from them to throw that number up there at what was clearly, by their own admission, a misprice. Why? There are no other win totals out.
Yeah.
So you have potentially thrown out a number, like, I know it is going to be viewed as unlikely, but if Bill Belichick and all of this NIL money, Mike Lombardi, now the GM, if they go out there and crush the portal, the ACC, which is as vulnerable as can be, who's to say the win total doesn't become 8.5, 9? Like, we saw this year SMU show up into the ACC, Donnie, and go unbeaten in the conference until the championship game.
No, you're right. And also, this isn't old school football. He's taken over. Give them 4 years because you got to get your recruits in as a freshman, teach them. And then, by the way, you have 3 or 4 recruiting classes, which how coaches used to always play it. This is the way it's going to be. We know that he's coming in with money and people want to transfer. They will load up on talent. And also, we're not talking about him. Hey, look, he's going to have to play Bama. He's going to have to play Georgia. He's got Texas on the schedule next year. This is an unbelievable. This is the ACC schedule. You can print on a couple of those games. I haven't saw the out-of-conference, but I'm pretty sure it's not dynamite like they are going to play. And if you look it up, like Alabama, Texas, and Georgia.
That.
Yes, so you're going to get 3 wins off the bat. You're probably going to have a better situation with more talented players and a coaching staff that hasn't been in college, which works 2 ways, Kevin. We don't know what North Carolina is going to show. Is Bill Belichick going to go like, okay, fullback, we're going to hand off a lot here? No, like this is the college game. 5 wideouts and let it rip with a great defensive mind. So I do agree, if you're looking to bet North Carolina, again, who was looking to take the under immediately? And you're right. The book's like, ooh, I thought people might like the under on this and fade away. Not the case.
Or if anything, I wonder if maybe they thought like, listen, we'll get some people to click. Like, I wonder if someone came in like, you idiots. Like, and slammed the 6.5, Donnie. Maybe.
Well, who came in and slammed the 6.5 under rated?
Right.
Like, oh, no, what did I do?
Yeah. But just to give you the idea. So, at Charlotte versus Richmond, right, okay. They'll host TCU and go to UCF.
Yeah.
We'll see. Scott Frost is with UCF now. TCU ended up having a nice season. But here's what I will say, Donnie. Just from this year, they host Clemson, at Syracuse, host Duke. There's no Miami, no SMU, no Florida State if they figure it out. Like, I'm just saying, like, pay attention to the college football playoff this year, right? A team like Texas, people are like, yeah, well, they're there because the schedule was light.
Yes.
But that's how you get in. Light schedules. So you might look at this and go, well, that's light. And look, I've been throwing it out there for days now. And, we just got some news, Donnie, that all of a sudden Quinn Ewers is wondering, maybe I'm better off going back to school. And the least surprising thing of all time is Texas will say, awesome, beat it, Arch is starting. Quinn could win the national championship, come back. He's not starting next year over Arch Manning. Like, if you're Quinn Ewers, Donnie, and you're like, okay, where can I go? I think North Carolina could be a very attractive opportunity for him.
And with a lot of money, and you're right. And who's not going to want to play? Initially, you are getting the benefit of that of Bill Belichick. He can sit in there and smile and be like, you are going to love this university. Yeah. You are going to love the way I play. Well, I'm going to have you play football. And then maybe in October he goes, well, why did I come here? This is ridiculous. This guy thinks I'm Tom Brady. I can't make these same reads. But initially, he is going to hit home runs right off the bat because the excitement level is there with North Carolina. And if they do have more NIL money than do have the past, sometimes it does just come down to the almighty dollar. Hey, Quinn Ewers, you'd like to stay at Texas. We're paying Arch a lot. You get $1 million. And they go, well, we'll give you $1.5 million. No brainer. You're off to North Carolina.
Yeah, what I think is also probably, and it was very interesting, I know Lombardi today went on the Pat McAfee show. They're like, yeah, we're working on getting the quarterback and offensive line figured out. Because I imagine that the Belichick side, like, just give us 11 bodies, we'll figure out the defense.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like, and I do not understand, and listen, I imagine that everybody in that room today for the press conference was very excited, and there's only so many opportunities. How he left that room without being asked about his son, at the moment now, Donnie, favored to be the coach of North Carolina in 4 or 5 years. Like, We don't have any word yet on if Steven Belichick is going to be the defensive coordinator of this football team. How is that possible?
No, it's just the way it is. And how about Bill Belichick and even pull a fast one? I didn't feel too good in October. My son's going to take over from here on out just to get it started. This is what I wanted to do. Are there any parameters in this? You have to coach for 4 years or this becomes null and void?
So this came out, $1 million buyout for Belichick at the end of the first season. So people go, ooh, it's really easy for him to get to the NFL. Well, this is where, though, I'll allow you to give your take on that.
Yeah.
Why do people think he's leaving for the NFL after a year?
No.
That's not a thing.
No, it's not a thing. And he's not going back to the NFL. And if you see that, I tweeted out today, I saw somebody, the Seth Wickersham, boy, oh boy, there's a person on the inside who we interviewed said, boy, that's the biggest, blankety blank to the NFL. No, it's not. The NFL goes, we don't want you.
Yeah.
This is your only way path here as a Cal. So you're telling me in 2 years, if he does well at Carolina, the Atlanta Falcons Club, hey, we passed over you last time. We just fired Raheem Morris. Welcome back at 74 years old. No, this should be his last stop.
We talked about this on Sunday with Cap. And Cap's like, look, he wants to coach in the NFL. And the one thing that I said is, Cap, I believe that, right? Mm-hmm. But he can't wait for the NFL cycle.
Correct.
And I think more than wanting to coach in the NFL, he wanted to coach. The idea that NFL teams are going to be like, you know what, man, we weren't sure on Bill, and what he did in North Carolina. Like, I know these teams sometimes can be poorly ran. Like, the idea that Belichick's Patriots sample size isn't enough and you need a one-year college sample size.
You know why he's going to college? Do you know, where was the wink-wink deal at that he would think he was going to get? Sirianni in trouble.
Well,
Eagles
no.
are good now.
Listen,
no longer there.
I mean, or the Dallas job. Big Mike's coming back. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
OU is definitely better than Syracuse. Miami's lost by 4 and by 5. But that offense is so good.
Right.
You cannot run away from them.
But the perception is, if we're talking about those two teams, Oklahoma's just this blue blood program, and Syracuse and Georgia Tech are not.
Right.
So that's why we give you a reason then to keep out Miami from the playoff.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back to right here. It's Game Time Decisions. Man, I just saw an NBA story that I'm tempted to throw your way.
Oh, boy.
But I don't know if I should. It's up your alley, though.
Okay.
Apparently, people are now tickets are plummeting for the NBA Cup this year.
Oh.
But
why?
It's easy. Last year, the Lakers were in it.
Yeah.
And it was the first year.
Yeah.
And then this year, it's the Thunder, the Bucks, the Hawks, and the Rockets. Like, of course, the Warriors were, and the Knicks got eliminated.
Why is the NBA Cup just not in the number one seeds arena?
I think that's a fair question, DRS.
Yeah.
I ultimately think that they want it to become more of a thing. The problem is, again, like, you don't know that your team's going to be. The Thunder found out, or let's use the Rockets found out they were going to be in it.
Yes.
This morning, if you will. Like it was 12:30 a.m. Like, of course, Rockets fans aren't going to Vegas on a whim.
Yeah.
And then the championship game's on a Tuesday. So
the tickets aren't selling quickly?
No, they're very cheap. They're very cheap, Donnie, to get in. But again, like, I don't know. I feel like that shouldn't
Like,
be
if you
surprising.
can't get people to Vegas, I mean, just imagine if, like, Indianapolis hosted. I mean, nobody'd be there at this point. So at least, you got Vegas going for you at that point.
I will say this. I loved FVV. They saw on postgame. Like, hey, man, what do you think? Let's go. Let's get the plane loaded up.
Exactly.
Let's go right now.
Let's get us there as soon as we can. What do we have, 2 days before the game starts here? Yeah, we're going to be able to relax this. By the way, you are an NBA guy quickly.
Yeah.
How are you handling, like, 1 game, 2 game, 2 game, when we're used to these monster slates? And even I woke up today like, oh, finally, the NBA Cup's done here. 3 games.
I'm telling you, the saving grace is that I have the OKC to win the Cup future. Yeah. So every time I'm like, this is all good. We're 1 day closer. Just knocking on the door. It makes me feel a little bit better. Did you – now, see, I know that you're not – see, it's a shame because you're not in NBA mode.
Yeah.
But there are some NBA topics out there that are up your alley. Like Jimmy Butler is requesting trades through his haircuts.
Yes.
But the LeBron one, just so I can expand on this just for a second. But DRS and I actually talked like LeBron thinking, oh, I'll play every game, and then JJ Redick being like, no, that doesn't make sense. So they gave LeBron off against Portland last Sunday, right? And then their next game would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play. But then they were like, oh, it's personal reasons. And then they're like, oh, well, we just found a way to give him like 11 days off, which is actually smart. But now, because there's all this trade chatter, right? He is now again in trade chatter. And it does feel like more than usual, there are some people saying, any chance, because he can be traded as of December 15th.
Okay.
Any chance LeBron is at home right now being like, do I ever want to play in a Laker uniform again, or should I get myself to Golden State?
I don't think so. I think he's with Los Angeles for the long term. I really do, because he's at the point where he's in legacy mode. And I actually don't think it helps his legacy to go to a ready-built contender, because that same thing will be like, oh, look at LeBron latching on to another couple good teams, and he's going to win it. Meanwhile, people have been telling him for his whole career, 6 rings or we don't talk. And then he gets 7. They go, well, you had to go to a couple different places to get that 7th ring. So I don't think that's possible. But also, don't you think, because the NBA likes to crack down now, I don't think they're allowed to crack down on personal reasons of why you're not playing. Because they can't come out and just say, well, LeBron James is tired. We don't want him to play for 3 games. That's a fine. You go personal, they go, oh, can't check in on it now.
It's honestly, it's a good point. Like, I remember Jokic missed like the first NBA Cup games, and it was for personal reasons. And I'm like, does he just like not want to play in the Cup? And then I was like, oh, he had a kid. And it's like, why didn't we just
exactly,
like, why was that hush? And then it was like, so I think here's the funny thing though that you just brought up there, because I was thinking about this today, about the Golden State end of it, is that he is still good enough where he can't freely change teams. Like, at the age of 40, it shouldn't be like, hold on a minute, guys are supposed to ring chase at 40, but because he's LeBron, it's like, oh, so you think that's going to count? Like, that doesn't count.
Exactly.
You can't go to Golden State.
Correct.
That hurts you. We're taking 1 away.
Like,
you've only got 3 rings
I'm
now.
telling you right now, like, you turn me into a villain at times, and I go, you know what? Here's what I need LeBron to do. Play till you're 45. Play like 1 minute like your Udonis Haslem back in the day, and pick up like 4 rings with different contenders. Go, I got 8 rings. Why is the conversation even happening anymore versus Michael Jordan?
Just boogie over to Boston on a vet min.
Because they told him his whole career, look at your rings, and you can't compare to Jordan.
And that's, like, again, it's like, oh, why can't LeBron, like, ring chase? Because he has to accept a max deal, like, every time. Like, it's just, the whole thing is just, like, so messy, I guess, if you will. But it is so funny that you said it. Like, I was thinking, like, he would probably love to go to Golden State and play with Steph and hang out with Draymond. And he's like, they're going to crush me for this. I can't go. I can't go. all right, I guess me and Bronny will rough it out here.
It's
in LA.
like Kevin Durant's Golden State Warriors years are completely wiped out, even though he was the best player in the world on that team.
Correct.
Oh, you ring chase with Golden State. Those don't count. Win it on your own. They go, well, Brooklyn didn't work out. Now Phoenix, like, well, I guess it was right. No, it really wasn't right because he was the best player on that team, but that's the perception.
He was, but those are somehow like Steph's rings to people, which is, again, the whole thing is utter madness here. We are going to get into this NFL game. Are you subscribing to the Debo game? Because there's a lot of chatter, Donnie. A lot of chatter.
Let me tell you something now. I am so big on off-the-field comments and quotes, specifically with wide receivers, and I just feel like I missed the boat because when I was talking about the Debo game on Tuesday, which is now Thursday, 46.5 is receiving yards. 53.5, 54, 55.5 of some books. Like, I still think it is a Debo game, and I still think he could score a touchdown, but I got so angry, Kevin, in that game in the snow where I go, Debo's angry he doesn't get the football. They haven't used him the past 2 games at that point. In the snow is the perfect time. He's definitely going to get 3 or 4 carries. He didn't get a carry in the snow, so I don't know what to believe. If they give him 6 carries tonight, I'm going to lose my mind.
Here's what I like, though. Again, the A.J. Brown playbook. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what really – because Debo's not been getting the ball, not been performing. Yeah. Well, you know what I think really set him off? They scored 38 points and he didn't get the ball. Like, he was probably like, see, we stink, and they're not getting me the rock. And he went, hold on a minute now. You mean to tell me Garendo's out receiving me? I got big problems now.
Yeah,
with
like
the
he should be
workload.
volunteering. Like when we get in the red zone, I want to be a tailback. Like that's what he's used to doing. But also, I love the fact that his moxie is still there. Like he's one of the best wideouts in the game. It's not my fault they don't get me the ball. No, they get you the ball. You don't make any moves and you drop passes. Now that's where you're at.
Literally, they community noted him. He leads the. He's like, it's not my fault. They're like, actually, it is his fault. Exactly. He leads the team in drops. Yep. We'll get to the rest of this game and maybe A.J. Brown if we have time on sports.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
OU is definitely better than Syracuse. Miami's lost by 4 and by 5. But that offense is so good.
Right.
You cannot run away from them.
But the perception is, if we're talking about those two teams, Oklahoma's just this blue blood program, and Syracuse and Georgia Tech are not.
Right.
So that's why we give you a reason then to keep out Miami from the playoff.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back at the right here, Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, Donnie right side. I kind of want to get to the A.J. Brown thing, so we will in a second. Let's fly through it then, DRS. What do you like here for this game tonight?
I do like the San Francisco 49ers. Earlier today, you're bouncing around the 3s and the 2.5s, primarily 2.5s now across the board. I always lean toward the home team on Thursday Night Football. Like the way San Francisco bounced back last week and getting some key components back into the lineup. And one of those guys is Isaac Orendo, who we didn't think was going to play with some foot sprain, and then we're led to believe yesterday he practiced and there was nothing wrong with him. So now you're looking at him for an anytime touchdown. No longer looking at the backup running back, and that also might affect the outcome of Deebo Samuel. For me, Kevin, I was actually looking at Deebo going, boy, like, now out of necessity, it's not like you have, okay, it's Christian McCaffrey back there, it's Jordan Mason, where does he get his carries, maybe a jet sweep or two, but I was literally looking at him lining up at tailback for a few plays. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I do like Brock Purdy tonight. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a slick surface. Some rain is expected, Kevin, but not a lot. Sustained winds, 5 to 10 miles an hour, which isn't bad. Maybe some gusts a little bit higher than that, so we're not worried about the weather. But if I had to pick one player tonight I'm interested in, it's actually Brock Purdy. Over 1.5 touchdown passes, I think, makes some sense. He should be in the realm of that 250 passing yards, what he needs to clear. And also, I'm trying to figure out, sometimes I like to take bets outside of the parlays to say, let me make sure I get after this. I look at his rushing yard. It's at 18.5. I think there's a legitimate chance he can get over that as well. And I want to do something that I know is going to make me angry, but I'm going to cheer it on the entire game. It's Juszczyk's receiving yards tonight. You're basically asking for one target to make it happen. I think there's a chance that. And if you really want to splash the pot tonight, plus 750 anytime touchdown on Kyle Juszczyk. Now, granted, he's only scored one time this year, but it just feels like a Juszczyk 3rd and goal in the 1, reverse out, fullback dive touchdown.
I don't mind it. I don't, you've always kind of sold me on those low-level looks where you're in it the whole way, as you said there.
Yes.
For me, I am on Stafford under 247.5 passing yards. Stafford coming off of the 320 game. It was the completion percentage that really elevated it. Completed over 75% of his passes there. Only 2 quarterbacks this season in a game have thrown for over 245 against the Niners, so I'm going to go low there. I'm going to take Deebo. Longest reception over 20.5. I know people are on Deebo tonight. I don't mind that. Here's the deal. He doesn't have 50 yards in a game without a catch of 21+. During this down streak, he had a game, 1 catch for 21 yards. We're not getting there, Donnie, without Deebo getting a big one, and there are explosive plays to be had against the Rams. My favorite bet in this game, it's the Rams team total under 23.5.
Juice.
Only once have they hit this in consecutive games, and it's because they went to overtime against Seattle, Donnie, and scored the touchdown there to walk it off 26-20. This is a Niners defense that can step up at home, getting Dre Greenlaw and Nick Bosa back here. I'm going to sell high a little bit on the Rams offense and go under the 23.5.
Yeah, a couple lackluster performances in back-to-back weeks for the 49ers, but really got right last week. I mean, everybody who's on social media saw, hey, look at this. The Bears have like 4 yards at the half. I mean, they smacked the Bears, which is something we're used to seeing. And you're right. You're getting some players back. And also keep in mind, these two coaches know each other well. It's a divisional game. It's like a playoff game, Kevin. I talked about it this morning on the early line. You saw the NBA Cup games yesterday, both way under the total. Not because the teams don't play great offense, but when things actually matter, the defense ramps up, and maybe you don't go for that fake punt on 4th and 3, 4th and 2 from midfield, close game. You punt the football as opposed to going for it here. And also, short work week. These guys are still banged up at this point, and there's a chance that it could be sloppy. 23.5, which means you got to get to 24+. I could see it. It's not a bad look.
All right, now quickly. The A.J. Brown stuff. I actually haven't heard your stance on this. You and I usually joke about how A.J.'s upset whether they win or lose with the whether he gets the ball or not.
Yes.
For me, this was a little different, but I'll let you start. What'd you think?
From just Sunday alone, or like the previous couple weeks?
I mean, no, I'm talking about him specifically. Like, hey, what's wrong with what'd you think about the game today? The passing is terrible. Jalen's garbage.
Yes. But they were friends, as you saw from the very first video they took the minute he signed that contract and got traded. Boy, like they were laughing at each other, best friends. Now things do change because understand this. Wide receivers want the football, and it will hurt your friendship if your best friend is the quarterback and you are not getting the football, specifically when you're used to getting. A.J. Brown was one of those targeted wide receivers in the NFL, and now it's like an afterthought because it's Saquon Barkley. He's not mad at Saquon. He's saying, Kevin, when I'm open, I don't get the football. That's not good.
For me, it is maybe the most selfish thing I've ever seen in my life.
You don't understand.
He is averaging over 83 yards a game, and that's including a game he didn't finish. It is the first game he finished and didn't have at least 60 yards in. Grow up.
No.
Grow up.
Nope.
Donnie, quite frankly, he is one of my favorite players ever, and that was before he put on the midnight green.
Mm-hmm.
They cut him tomorrow. I wouldn't blame him one bit.
Whoa,
that
what?
Was garbage.
Get you out of here. That
was
just sounds a horrible
garbage
take.
out of
One of the worst
Brown.
takes you ever see. It's Game Time Decisions. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Let's get
Lane
after
Johnson,
it.
way more important. We'll be right back. No, we won't. We'll see you in an hour.
The Seahawks, I expected a bounce back after that poor performance against Buffalo the week before. They took the Rams right down to the wire.
The Cardinals are the top spot at the moment. That's not going to hold. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are not going to